Hello, my name is Scott Kezarowski. I am the senior pastor at River Cities Christian Church, and I am here this evening with Walter and Laura Vondre. They are a precious couple from our congregation, and they've just had some really unique life experiences with suffering, and wanted to share their story. So Walter, tell everybody hello.
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 And there's Laura.
It's Laura.
So Walter, why don't we just sort of start at the beginning? Tell us a little bit about your life.
Okay, give me the Walter C. Vondre. I was born in 1951, Woodstock, Illinois, which happened to be on Mother's Day.
Oh, that's pretty neat. That must have been a great Mother's Day present for your mom, huh?
Yeah, well, hopefully.
I'm sure it was.
I was named after the evangelist who led my parents to Christ. His name was Walter LaSalle. 69 or 70. I went with my mother to a Wesleyan church here in Rapids. And there was an evangelist, a woman evangelist. And she told the people there that they ought to know a date when they've been saved. And I says, I don't remember. I just knew I was saved. I had gone to altar calls for years and years, just every one, I'd go. And so I prayed the prayer again, and now I don't remember that time, but I know that salvation is mine. I know that Jesus died and took away my sin.
Sounds like you know you're trusting in Christ right now, today, even if you can't pinpoint the exact moment that started.
Absolutely. I trust in the Lord for all things.
That's great.
Then I was married in 1973, October 13th. And let's see, in 1978, I was divorced. Oh, meanwhile, we had a child named Gretchen, a girl child named Gretchen.
What were the factors that led up to the divorce?
She went to work at a hardware store, and this fellow was her boss. They fell in love. Now they're missionaries in Jamaica.
You were heartbroken.
Oh yeah.
So tell me, Walter, how did that divorce affect you emotionally?
I was heartbroken, completely heartbroken. When a person gets completely heartbroken like that, you don't know what they're going to do. They could do anything, and they have to choose what they're going to do. If they're going to, which way they're going to turn. remembered that I belonged to Christ, and that was my choice. It was a real hard time on me, and I don't know if it took a long time to get over it,
I can imagine.
and I don't know if still I'm completely over it, but I was married 2 times before Laura here, and the second time was a mutual divorce. She lied and deceived me a whole lot, and I knew I couldn't live with her. She was spending too much money. Spent everything. And then some for going out to eat all the time.
Sure.
In the early 80s, I went to the doctor and he told me I was diabetic and gave me pills to take. So I took the pills. Didn't think much of it. I felt fine. And even in the 90s, I was starting to feel it though, once in a while. If I stayed outside and did too much yard work and so forth, I would get so I was real weak and dizzy and whatever. Just not feeling well.
Mm-hmm.
And I still wasn't taking insulin. And
Was that your personal choice to not take insulin?
no, that was the doctors
Okay.
that was telling me to take the pills.
Okay.
I don't think that you took that as serious as you would have if you would have known what was going to happen with you. Because you didn't, your diet never changed. You still did whatever you wanted.
I ate whatever I wanted, yeah.
And you took the pills, which had no effect then because you weren't doing a diet that would help the pills along.
I went into the 90s and had a few bad days when I had to physically exercise a lot. But in 92, I even went into weightlifting and put on muscle real fast. And I was bench pressing nearly, 400 pounds.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
And that was incline bench press.
Wow.
And
How much did you start at? When you first started lifting weights, what were you at?
I don't remember, but it went up
Okay.
fast.
Yeah, okay.
And wasn't there a time where you exercised and didn't eat, still not doing it correctly? You stopped eating. Your diet was to not eat, and you lost a lot of weight. You went back to the doctor, and they took your blood or your sugar, and they said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And then it dropped off. It went right back to where you ate what you want, and then there was no, that's when they wanted you to take the insulin. It was the pen, the actual needle that you had to press in, not the injection one you have now. It was an actual needle,
No, you're right. It was a syringe.
and it was making you sick.
It was.
Yes, you said, I'm not taking these, it's making me sick, makes me sick.
I don't remember. Oh, that certain kind of
Insulin.
insulin. Yeah. Well, that
So you
was.
pretty much stopped all of that.
But I was taking it by syringe before that, and it was just fine. And then it went to these automatic pens, and that works fine. But I learned how to use it properly just lately.
Through education that you did not receive when being diagnosed with
You know,
diabetes.
So tell me, Walter, how your experience with diabetes progressed.
it did get worse. When we moved, which was 2000, when was it? 2009? When we moved to Fairchild, my brother came over to help me move and fill up a trailer that I brought. And by the time that trailer was full, I could hardly make it to the house and back to the
You
trailer.
were just feeling really worn out.
And something happened inside me. I felt terrible. And then I drove up north, and it was in the night. And about when I got to Wisconsin Dells, I started feeling better. So it's like halfway. So yeah, it was diabetes related. And I don't know if I was taking insulin at that time or what I was doing. But anyways, I've been taking the
You started back up on insulin in 2013.
okay, I've been taking insulin
So
since
from
what?
before 2009 to 2013, you took nothing
Okay.
because you felt fine.
Okay. Yeah. Now I take it twice a day.
And then I understand it all kind of caught up to you about 6 years ago. Is that right?
Yes,
Tell
my
us about
kidneys quit, and I had to go on dialysis. Put me in the hospital, and what'd they do to me, Laura?
They put you through some heavy dialysis. They
Oh,
took a
yeah.
good 40 to 50 pounds off of you, and that was something they told you you'll have to have for the rest of your life. It's
Yeah.
pretty much your lifeline.
That's how it went.
And then you started getting sores that weren't healing because of lack of circulation.
Oh, on my feet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tell us about that, Walter.
Yeah, my feet pretty much died with with lack of blood circulation.
Even with going to the wound clinic and me taking care of it every day.
So they had to be amputated. And the first one that was amputated, what year was that?
21. November 21. November 18th.
Okay. First one that was amputated, I called my wife, told her to put me on hospice. I'm not going to do it. Then a strange thing happened. These people who, what do you call that? Yeah,
Ivy.
put an IV in people. I have small veins, so they couldn't do mine. So they called a man from the other side of the hospital, and he came over, and he did it. And he told me he was a military man and was Swiss. And he told me I had to fight. And his name was Johann. And he told me a little story, and I don't even know if it's going to be used here, but he said that his men would go across the street. He'd have one or two men every day go across the street and shoot themselves. And it's because they were ordered to shoot everybody in a village, kill everybody in a village, including women and children, everybody, and they couldn't take it. And he said, you gotta you gotta fight. He says, you gotta fight. And for some reason I believed him. And I called Laura back and says, don't put me on hospice, I'm going through with it. I thought from then on that Johann might be an angel. And the next morning I asked to speak to Johann. I wanted to thank him. And they said he was fired. He wasn't there anymore.
So he was pretty much put in that place by God and taken out when he was not needed anymore. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, who knows? But yeah.
So that was just before your first leg was amputated. So you went through with the amputation. And then what happened after that?
Or was that the second leg?
It was the first.
It was the first. Yeah. The second one, I still went with, I can do this. Because I had done it with the other one. I thought I can do this. You know, and the worst, I could die, but then I'd be with Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah,
Okay.
like what's the worst that could happen, right?
Yeah.
You end up with Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. And then after the second one was amputated, which brings us right here. Well, I came home and my wonderful wife had made our house into a hospital room.
That was before your first amputation.
Second.
First.
And I remember she stood there and she told me that she loved me and she would never leave me. And every time I think about that, it is just wonderful.
Laura has really significantly given of herself to care for you.
Yes. Quit her job.
So, Walter, before we wrap up today, what are some things that you have learned about suffering in the midst of all of this?
Well, I going around with 2 amputated lower legs. That's suffering.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
You can't go anywhere, you can't do anything. You lay on your back, and that's it.
And depend on others to do for you.
Depend on others is right. If you're as vulnerable as could possibly be, it's not a good thing.
And you had to trust me with everything.
If you want to go to the bathroom, you can't go to the bathroom. If you want to read the refrigerator, you can't read the refrigerator. If you want to wash your hands, you can't wash your hands. Got to have help doing every little thing. And a person who will do that is a wonderful person.
What I think that we both learned through suffering, because, and I say both
Mm-hmm.
because I suffered too.
Mm-hmm.
I am suffering.
Oh, absolutely.
To watch your loved one go through
Mm-hmm.
what they have to go through,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to, make sure everything's right. And there's nothing you can do to change it. I mean, it's happening. We got to continue living. So what I think we learned on this is that God will always get us through.
See, I was asking about hospice real much just over a week ago and back and before. I couldn't take it anymore. And the thing is, I had these sores, and it was driving me crazy. And we found a way that those sores just healed up right away. And I know the Lord must have brought us to that. But now I woke up about a little over a week ago, and I felt good, real good. And I still do. I want my prostheses. I want my second one, but things are good.
One of the things that encourages me about your story, Walter, is, when you talk about wanting to go on hospice and just the idea, and, from there to where you are today, I just think about, the lesson that people can learn perhaps from that in suffering is not to give up too soon. Because I think sometimes we tend to give up too soon.
Absolutely.
We throw the towel in.
Yeah.
And we don't give God room to work. And sometimes he makes us wait and wait and wait and wait. But then in the end, he moves his hand.
Yes. And that's why I think Johan came in there
Mm-hmm.
and told me to fight.
Mm-hmm.
And all the other times
And
you had Christian fellowship and the pastor to help you get through it.
Yes. And I thank you folks for always being there. Every time I go in the hospital, you come. The first day, it's wonderful.
Yeah, I don't know we've been able to get up there every time, but we tried to make it a priority because that's what family's for.
We're in there every time, eh?
I think we had COVID once.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was the first one.
We weren't going to share that.
That was the first amputation, so they
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you guys so much for sharing, and we look forward to hearing your insights